everybody and welcome on today's video. The weather is not great and I was going through some of my old stuff and I found this requisite of an old project that I once started with field maples and that almost went great until my son, who was 5 at the time, decided to water this with some water that came from the water softener here in the house, and which is very salty water, and everything died. Yeah, I gave up on that project and I'm still a little bit in doubt. You see 50 here, it means that I need 50 trees to put in this thing here, and the idea was really simple. You know, you put 50 whips through the holes and then they grow, they air layer themselves, and then you can start cutting everything off and lead the little new trunks around this foam trunk. So, well, I tried it a lot of times, but the problem was with these field maples, once these whips were growing, they became very stiff and difficult to bend. And when you look at this foam trunk, you see there is an enormous bend here. So I need to think which plant I can use to do that, because I still think that this is a cool little shape for a fusion tree. But I'm going to do it slightly different this time. I will cut out this whole thing and plant it in a deep pot with cuttings. And every year, well, maybe I'll try to add a few more cuttings, but I'm not really sure what cutting that I can use. So yeah, anyway, first of all, I'm going to get this out with the Dremel tool. And therefore I'm going to go inside because, well, that's where the electricity is. So I will do it from this side. I think it's going to be a little easier. And, well, this is the maximum that I have here. So I'll just mark roughly where I want to cut. Like so. Maybe a little more, like this. Well, it means it's already a big pot to find, but I'll see. So I'm going to prepare the Dremel. So it's the tool with the little disc, and let's go. Now, that went rather well. So this is the top. The idea is that the cuttings grow through the little holes, and then I can put that thing right on top of it and start to guide the little twigs around it. So of course this is a project for, well, it's going to take several years, but everything does in bonsai take several years, so no big deal. So I found this great big mica pot where my plastic plate, fits in very nicely. So I'm very happy about that. And, well, I was thinking to use Chinese elms. So the problem here is, if I want to use Chinese elms, well, that's my Chinese elm. Now I have a whole lot of good whips that I can use. The thing is, it's March now. Will this work to take cuttings right now, or should I wait? Now, I'm absolutely no expert on Chinese elms. The only thing that I know about this Chinese elm is that it's really not a beautiful tree, and I was planning to cut it back here. And then comes the other question: if I want to do that, Well, I'm not going to do that, but if I want to do that, can I maybe also use this as a cutting? You know what? I'm gonna ask Xavier from the Bonsai Retreat. I know that he is a expert in Chinese elms. He did a whole lot of things with cuttings. So hello Xavier, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi Kennet. Well, great for getting in contact with me. I do appreciate that. I love working with you, and right now I'm in the middle of my late winter, early spring repots, and in particular Chinese elms, which is pretty appropriate considering what you're just asking me. But what are you up to?
Yeah, well, I have this project. We'll send you some pictures. It's about putting cuttings of Chinese elms into a big plastic plate to make a gigantic fusion tree.
Well, you're definitely the king of fusion. I don't know where on earth you get all those ideas from. Some of them are absolutely incredible. And I have to say, I was incredibly inspired by you last year, so much so that I created this incredible oak confusion fusion. I think confusion is probably nearer the truth.
I wanted to ask you, when is the best time to take cuttings from a Chinese elm?
When do I take them? I take cuttings basically from late winter right through to the sort of mid-autumn time, where there's still just a little bit of chance to get some roots to strike. These were taken last year, I think. In fact, no, these were taken 2 years ago. I think there's some cork bark there, 6 or 7. They were taken in the spring, but truthfully, they root like, you know, those soft furry things that have got big ears.
White wabbit. White wabbit.
You know what I'm getting at, don't you? But I have actually literally just taken some a week or so ago, whacked them straight in some soil, and I imagine they'll do fine. So truthfully, any time when it's showing green is pretty good. And even talking to Yella, the hardwood cuttings in the early winter can also work out pretty well. I think he goes up to the thickness of thumb, finger, something like that.
Okay, so how thick can I take these cuttings?
I mean, truthfully, I get the best results taking them as what I'd call semi-hardwood. So all this is last year's shoots, and you can go anywhere up to 1 centimetre, which means thickness of that, in which case I'll just take off just below a branch junction, just take a few off, probably that sort of height, as tall as my cutters. What's that, about 5-6 inches? And plonk that in soil. That would be my cutting. Also, the side branches that I cut off, again, I find that the best cuttings come from there or doing a heel. So you get that lovely big strip.
Okay, and do you think that hormone powder is a necessity, or can I do without? Well, isn't it safer to use it anyway?
Choice, I can obviously put them straight into the soil, or I can have a bucket beside me that's got water in it, like I do with a lot of my cuttings, take them back to the bench, and if I've got hormone powder around, I might use it. But truthfully, they're tough as old nails, these things. If they're going to root, they'll root regardless.
But since I need a whole lot of cuttings, do you think? Because look, this is my little tree here. Do you think it might be a good idea to repot it right now into a bigger pot so that it grows more, so that I have more cuttings?
Truthfully, I would probably slip pot that into a bigger standard plant pot, probably tease out some of the roots that are around the side, just have a little inspection of what you've got, but I wouldn't do any particular root cutting. I'd just be looking to spread them out so that as it grows over the year, it's going to go vaguely in the direction you want. So I would slip pot it. But that's not to say that you couldn't just do it in situ and wait for those shoots to extend, because they will. But looking at what you've got there, Kennet, I think I'd definitely take, there's 2 or 3 of those larger hardwood or semi-hardwood shoots. I'd take them now and pot them straight away. Otherwise, probably wait until the end of May when this new flush has absolutely gunned out as far as you want it, and then again take them so that you've at least got some sort of semi-hardwood cuttings. I find that if you just use it when it's still quite soft, they just die off, so I wouldn't do that.
Okay, well, I'll do that.
I think in your case, what I'd be inclined to do is to basically take the cuttings straight from the tree where you've cut it and start putting it straight into the holes. I'd be doing that right away with what you take now. They should grow fine, and probably the only suggestion I might make is that you've got that lovely centerpiece. Use that as a stanchion or whatever, and either put cling film or a humidifying system, plastic bag or something, just to create that better environment for the cuttings to take. But truthfully, probably don't even need that.
Are there any more specific things that I should think about? I don't know, fertilizer, substrate type of things?
In terms of the potting soil, if you're not going to throw them straight into that fusion creation, I do love the design of those 50 holes all the way around, and I think it's going to look really fantastic. Same mix that yours experience is using. I normally use the disused potting mix from repots from the year before, minus the weeds and dead roots. I'll put in 50% vermiculite, and I find that's pretty decent. But truthfully, I've had equally successful results just putting them in dirt.
So I need to put these trees around the foam trunk, and it's quite, well, I'll have to make some bends. Do you think that these Chinese elms are flexible enough when I take cuttings to do that?
Now, of course, the biggest issue you've got is that you're going to need 50 of those whips, and with one tree to start off from, that means it is going to take a little bit of a while. But don't be surprised how quickly what you have got shoots out and gives you the material you need. And truthfully, if you think about the way your creation is going to go, adding between 8 and 10 new cuttings a year means by the time you get to the 5th year or the 4th year, you're going to have cuttings that's substantially thicker and already in place. So you're going to get that impression of lots of different aged trees creating your fusion project. I think that's going to look brilliant. In terms of flexibility, well, these are very, very bendy-wendy, so you'll have no problem. Definitely, I mean, what's these? These are 2 to 3 millimeter thickness, probably 2 to 3 year old cuttings. I don't think you'll have a problem at all. But if you're working on the smaller cuttings you've just taken, let them grow in the soil for at least a year so you establish a bit of roots and support, and then you can slowly start winding them around like you do with all your fusion projects. Probably you know better than me. Anyway, fantastic working with you, Kennet. Hopefully this project's going to turn out as great as I imagine it will be. And the only really bad thing about it that I can see is that we're going to have to wait so long for the results. My only cautionary thing is be patient in that first year. Don't be tempted to move those little cuttings around, and be aware that, depending on conditions, you may lose 2 or 3 of them, so it may take a lot longer to get them together. But I think it's a fantastic idea.
Okay, well, I'll do that. Thanks for the advice.
By the way, I know you were asking about that collaboration we were doing. Well, this is the Scots pine and how it's looking now. I mean, if you remember back last year, there was very little growth, and I've used the tourniquet approach, which you told me to do, and hopefully, if anyone else is interested in this, we've got the next part of the instalment of our collaboration with the Scots pine coming up some point later on in May, June. But yeah, it's doing very well, so thanks for your help on that, Kennet. Anyway, all the best, and good luck for the project.
I'll keep you updated. See you later. Bye, Xav. Well, that was good advice. So, well, I might use just this pot with some substrate here, and I'm going to get this guy out of the pot because Xavier said that repotting time for an elm was not that difficult, but shouldn't wait too long. So, good draining soil, a little bit of organic, can't hurt. So like that, big mountain in the middle. Get this guy out of the pot. It only went in last year, so don't think that it's really pot bound. Can't be. Oh, maybe a little more substrate. Ah. So that's gonna be one happy tree in one big pot. So let's fill this up with some more substrate. And gently work this in. Well, it can't hurt to put some rocks on top. Yep. So I'm happy with that. Now let's try a cutting. So here of course will be the most complicated part, so I think it's best to start with that part. Like Xavier said, take a cutting like so, and then some hormone powder, and then a little hole, and the cutting comes right in. Okay, should finish that with some substrate, or oh well, by poking the hole next door I can stabilize this. Okay, so next, that's good thinking. All right, it's a little whip. It's not going to help. So, well, I'm not gonna have 50 here, but I don't think it really matters at this point. If I have a dozen now, I'll be rather happy. So I only have 7 good cuttings, and I'm putting on some sand here because I think it's going to be a good idea to use sand just to fill up the little cavities, little holes, so that the little cuttings are happily growing. And I think that's all that I can do. I'm just gonna water this in, and I think that that's gonna be it. The only thing that I can do now is let this guy grow, make a whole lot of twigs that I can use in my fusion, in this little fusion plate, and probably take cuttings from this one, these ones, and also use them in the same planting. So that's all for today. I'll keep you updated. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.